Well, at this time, it is an absolutely
Gene, hold on.
wonderful.
You have to wait for Mike. You ready? Okay.
At this time, it is an absolutely wonderful honor to meet a mentor, a leader, a true gentleman, somebody who has impacted the hospitality industry throughout the state of Pennsylvania for 20 plus years. Someone who so many look up to, David Jackson, CMP, HMCC, and the founding partner of KKD Tourism Advisors. David, welcome to Food Farms and Chefs. Great honor to have you.
The honor is all mine, Gene. Thank you very much for having me.
So, David, I'm going to go back a little bit and talk a little bit about your career, which really has impacted so many of our listeners without them realizing it. I first met you way back when at the convention center in Philadelphia. You were kind of holding down two careers at that point in time. You were part of the Visit Bucks County, or the Bucks County ZVB at the time, but you were also a senior manager with Aramark during kind of the opening process of the convention center and getting it off its feet when the flower show was coming. And the thing that struck me about you back then is no matter who, you always had a handshake and a greeting and a smile for every person who was working in that building. And God knows there were thousands. You were an early inspiration to me, but really those early days. So tell us a little bit about, your career starting with Aramark and going forward.
Aramark, how about that? Well, actually, when I joined the team, it was still ARA. And it was part of our team that actually did the product launch, the name change to Aramark at the shed at the convention space. But no, what it was, it's a prototype. Pennsylvania Convention Center is a prototype. No one had ever done it before. The ability to serve 10,000 5-course white glove, white tablecloth. And they brought a team together. There were 13 of us, some having tablecloth experience, other having large volume experience. They got me from the tablecloth side of life. And from the very beginning, we knew it was a major undertaking. Nowhere in the country could anybody come in by train underneath, get up, do your shopping, get connected to the Marriott for your lodging, meals, and also your meeting and convention space all under one roof. And to be able to serve 10,000 5 courses with white glove service. So convention centers all over the country were coming in and seeing how we were doing things. And we knew from the beginning we were into a major undertaking. They said the first event is going to be 10,000 people. Al Gore will be in the presence. It'll be 5 courses. And then after that's over, we'll go upstairs and the opening will take us to 10,000 people. We'll have Boys to Men. We'll have the Philadelphia Symphony Orchestra. We'll have indoor pyrotechnics for fireworks. And then on lunch the next day, we'll have Nelson Mandela and de Klerk. The first time these two statesmen have been under the same roof in their history for the Liberty Medal Awards luncheon. And we looked at each other and said, what did we get ourselves into here? And that's the beginning of the Pennsylvania Convention Center.
And I have been to so many amazing events there. The team, the Aramark team, has always been a great pleasure, even with outside contractors coming in. I was part of an amazing event back then, hosted by Colin Powell. And yes, it was the Summit on Youth Volunteerism that the convention center opened up the grand ballroom and everything upstairs in the train shed for a tasting of restaurants and, everybody coming in. And I remember distinctly the security nightmare that was, because we had 4 living presidents in the building at that point in time.
Mm-hmm.
And what that took to be part of that team, and the Aramark team, and you know, the leadership that was there, really assisting us in getting all those restaurants through security, and making just what was an absolutely amazing event. And then, you know, the flower show, the largest indoor flower show in the world.
Never
Every
seen that
year.
much dirt in all my life. All night long, just loading dirt. And then you come back the next day and it looks like a paradise. It's amazing what these artisans are capable of doing, you know, in a confined space.
Absolutely. And every event that went with it, the team, whether it was, you know, white collar or white tablecloth, from, you know, an elegant dinner to concessions, to, you know, outside concessions coming in, just amazing food production, you know, bars rolling in and out, and the setups going on, and just the amazing things that you and the team had an opportunity to do there, and really showed the world what's capable under great leadership. So, you know, thank you for doing that. But while you were doing that, you were also part of, you know, my home area of Bucks County. You were doing a lot with Bucks County CVB, and really building up Bucks County as a tourist destination. If you can tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, that's called tourism. That's what I didn't even know it existed when I first started. You know, again, I had been in the hospitality and tourism, convention center life, nightclubs. I was doing all that prior to even entering into the tourism industry. The beautiful thing about it is I feel I can go to any bar, any restaurant, any hotel in the country, in the world, and within 30 seconds, they're opening their books to me because I know the language. You know, I've been there, done it. You know, I know what their highs and their lows are, and what they're going through, and it's some of the most brilliant people are in the hospitality industry. They because they're always thinking for others in order for them to succeed, and to have that ability, and to make it into a sense where people can understand it is quite a feat. It's a gift, and you got the gift, you got to use it. So I mean, convention center life, there were 15 to 18 hour days, and we would do runs of 30 to 32 straight days of this. Then you would get 2 days off, and then you would do it again, and then you get 2 days off, and one of those days might be even under question, and you do it again. Convention center life is all encompassing. It's all or nothing. So at that point, I'd gotten married and had a little baby named Naomi. And I said, I really can't do this anymore at this level with a family. And someone said, you should get into tourism. And there happened to be a call that came in and says there's a corporate sales manager position open at Bucks County Convention and Visitors Bureau. Would you be interested? So I took that, and thus started a 10-year project with building Bucks County to the point where we could just say Bucks County and people would know what it is, because it is a great history. You have things such as Sesame Place. That's actually number 3. New Hope is the number 1 reason why people come to Bucks County. And again, anything in the top 5, you're talking about millions of people. So, and Peddler's Village is number 2 most visited. 3 is Sesame Place, and that's only because they're only 3 because they're only open part of the year. They close in October.
Right.
Yeah, and you'd be surprised. Doylestown, the county seat, is number 4 with this influx of so many restaurants and easy access, both train and bus can get you here. It's a suburban setting, but it's got international appeal. From my home, I can walk 3 blocks to the train station and connect to the Philadelphia airport or to Amtrak at 30th Street Station and go anywhere I want, or take the bus to the Port Authority in New York City, which I'll be doing on Wednesday. You know, all in a suburban setting. So there's a lot to, and then Washington Crossing is the number 5th. Washington Crossing Historic Park was the 5th most visited. And all the B&Bs, the country drives. If you haven't had an opportunity to drive along River Road up to Easton, it's just gorgeous. It's you throw on a little James Taylor and be on your way, man. It's
picturesque.
It certainly is, but it's 600 square miles, so you have a whole different story if you want to start down in the south in Bristol, which was one of that goes back to the beginning of the nation, where the nation started. King George from England sailed into Bristol, so that story has to be told. And then you have your upper Bucks, where most of your land preservation is, so you can still see rich farmland, rolling hills, and it all, it's only minutes from Philadelphia and New York City, so it makes it a very appealing destination. So our goal was to try to come up with a plan to strategize all this information and put it into a nice, concise thing. We hired folks to consultants to come in and everything, and everybody came with the same answer. You have too much. There's too much to choose from. One time you're fine dining, then your history, now your land preservation. It's Bucks County, or we like to call it Big Bucks County.
It is that. As a lifelong Bucks County resident, and my wife works in Peddlers Village, and we're minutes from the village, minutes from Doylestown, right up here, and there's so many great history. If I turned around and told the majority of the world that all the original astronauts before going to the moon trained in Bucks County, at a place called this the Naval Air Development Center, which
Over
you can now
Warrington.
go
Yep.
to. Yeah, you can now go there, have an event, because they've turned it into an event center. They have a microbrewery opening this week, and sit in, areas where all the original astronauts once were. It's mind blowing what we have here in Bucks County.
So
But
true.
you then went on to a much bigger area, I should say. Encompassing a few counties. Tell us a little bit about that.
How about that? Well, I was at a trade show in Dallas, Texas, and Lisa Browning Mitchell, who was then the director of sales for the Poconos, approached me. Says, we've been keeping an eye on you, and we'd like to consider you for a regional sales position with the Pocono Mountains. Would you be interested? At that time, I was like, well, I have to take a look at it. So after 5 interviews, I became the regional sales manager for the Pocono Mountains, which encompasses 2,400 square miles. It's 4 counties, Pike, Monroe, Wayne, and Carbon counties. 80% of all the resorts in the state of Pennsylvania are located in those 4 counties. So, to say that tourism doesn't matter to the Poconos is like air matters to people. That's their lifeblood. And so I took on that position. It lasted about 3 months, and then the director of sales left and asked if I would be considered for the director of sales position. So I was on the fast track in the Poconos.
There you go.
13 years later, I ended as the senior vice president of sales, and just enjoyed every moment of it. I love the people. I never met people that were so in tune with the Doppler system on making decisions. It's so important, the things that you really consider to make people happy and comfortable when they arrive there. So that the Poconos has seen such a lot of growth. They had like a $2.5 million budget when I arrived, and then when I left 13 years later, had over $10 million budget. And the word got out, which was our main goal, and some major players came along with it, Kalahari being there, top of the list. We had to pitch them to come. We were up against, they were considering going down to Virginia in Fredericksburg. And so we flew out to Ohio, which was their second park that they had created, and said, look, we understand what you guys are on the move. You should consider the Pocono Mountains. You're close to New York City, Philadelphia. 20% of the population in the United States is within a 200-mile radius of you. But your pricing, it's gotta go higher. If you keep the same pricing you got here in Ohio and over in Wisconsin Dells, people are going to think something's wrong with you. And you could see light bulbs going off in the room. They're like, you know what? Maybe we should consider going to that neck of the woods, because you know, there's just New York, New Jersey, Connecticut. Folks travel from all over to be there, and it's a very recognizable name. They've done a great job at promoting itself. If you know, again, when I first took on, I asked the question, what's going on with this heart-shaped tub? What's that all about? And they were like, oh no, we're trying to get away from that look. But as we find out, that should be celebrated. It should be taught at Wharton. They took a 3-year project and translated it into 40 years worth of business. Let's go over to Wharton and see if somebody can draw me a business plan that gives me that type of return.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, you know, you did something that I think is truly either the most brilliant thing that somebody could do, or one of the most foolish, and I'm going to go with brilliant because it's working out. In the height of COVID, 2020, you went out on your own, and you did it late in the year. So obviously you saw where the country was in tourism and travel, but you had to, in my opinion, have the, you know, foresight to say, when we come out of this, there's going to be great opportunity. And you founded KKD Tourism Advisors, which, you know, to do that in the middle of a pandemic, wow, you know, what an amazing thing. And I reflecting on that, I have to give it that you saw the opportunity for what's going to come now, what's going to come a year from now as well, and in 5 years from now. So tell us a little bit about what KKD does, what your philosophy is, and how you go about doing it.
It was funny because a couple colleagues of mine, one in Virginia and the other was in Michigan, were talking on the phone over the course of the spring of that year, right in the midst, the height of COVID. And we said, you know, our industry needs some help right now. We're getting cut off at the knees. We're predicated on bringing people together, and COVID's predicated on keeping people apart. Something's got to give. And we collectively started thinking, you know what, the industry's been really good to us. We have over 100 years experience between the three of us. We need to put our heads together and see if we can go back and help and lend a helping hand. And that's really where it started. We officially launched November of that year, and we work with services like tourism recovery. We'll go into an area and they will let us know where they want to be, give us their set goals, and we'll set the standards to try to meet that goal through sales, through marketing, and through just cultivating and getting volunteer groups together. We work with sustainability, so people aren't just mindlessly going and throwing food out and things of that nature. We help with that. We get tourism readiness, you know, to get all of your innkeepers and shopkeepers aware of some of the rules and regulations. Now with the new protocol, we call it the new. We've created a new playbook around reopening your stores, you know, to keep, you know, compliant with the CDC regulations. So folks got to be educated on that. Customer service training, you know, showing people how to answer the phones, how important that is. Trade show consultation, cross-cultural sales and marketing, and also access to a professional network. We can get grant writers. We find that's very important too. A lot of destinations are looking for money that is available to them. They either don't have the time or the expertise to write out an appropriate grant. So we have folks to do that. And we don't do it. If we can't do it in-house, we'll reach out and get independent contractors, folks we know from the industry who are well vetted that can hit the ground running. That way, these destinations, these companies who are on a budget anyway, don't have to hire, train, relocate, add benefit packages. We can bring folks in and just do gig work. If you like their work, then keep them on, or, have them back when you need them again, whether it's a 2-week project, 2-month project, or a 2-year project. And, so KKD has put itself in a position of being kind of that arm to say, you got a silent partner that knows the industry, knows your plight. You don't have to go over everything. Let's just put the project out on the table and find the people that can make it happen for you.
So many people, and I'm one of them. My wife is one of them. Everybody who travels, we always kind of find our way to these websites for, Visit Charleston, or, Blue Ridge Mountain Tourism and things like that. And people don't realize what it takes to put all that together, to bring all those people together, to get everybody singing the same song. And, talking to you and doing the research that I've done, you are the people who really are laying down the foundation for those groups and those, tourism communities to, really set that up. So, a lot of where people go today is dependent on companies like you and your expertise and your team's 100 years of experience to, manage vacations in the long run, and where people are holding, major conferences and conventions. And as people are getting back to work, that's needed more and more every day. I mean, people are ready to go back out and meet face to face. So, your role is so vital today, which takes me to the next thing. You're working on a very, very unique project, kind of a spin-off of, something that existed many years ago, in a different time in this country, and really put a great, interesting twist into that, where you're really shining the spotlight on, a community in need, and, giving a leg up to individuals in our industry that, were kind of overshadowed and held down and held back. If you could tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah. So anyway, we're sitting minding our own business, and we get a call from a company called Black Meetings and Tourism, located out in Los Angeles. Saul and Gloria Herbert are the founders and owners of that magazine. We had known them for years, and they had said that they were given an opportunity. They had been sitting on this opportunity for quite a while, where Victor Hugo Green, the originator of the Green Book, that the foundation had reached out and said, we want to bring the Green Book in effect up to the 21st century. The Green Book was established in 1938 by Victor Hugo Green, postal operator. He saw the need. There was a need. African Americans just couldn't travel anywhere around the country at that time. It was unlawful in a lot of cases. They just weren't wanted. And the Green Book was designed to give them places of safe haven, place where they can lay their head down overnight, get a meal, grab a haircut, get gasoline to fill your car up. And the places that were listed by state within each area could be pinpointed, and you could actually plan your trip around it so that you know where to go and how much it would be when you get there. And so this was reprinted every year and updated every year until 1968. Consequently, Victor Hugo Green's, his whole thinking was, hopefully one day the United States won't need such a book. Well, now the story has come back to full circle, and the story needs to be told again. So we're looking to now to set it up into an app, a booking agent, if you would, where you go into the new Green Book for Travel app, and you'll be able to pinpoint places that are now listed in the current Green Book for Travel, hotels, festivals, places to eat, hairstylists, things of that nature. It's going to help like a lot of underserved minority businesses, but it's also going to help mainstream businesses that want to make sure that they're connected with such a growth. It's a cultural trip, if you would, and it just changes the whole dynamic. The beautiful thing about it is destinations don't have to pay for infrastructure. They don't have to build a building. All they have to do is take what they already have and now put it into a new platform. And folks can now be directed to where to go and things to see. Most cases, you don't even know that things exist in your own backyard. And we're going to uncover all that. So there's a tremendous story yet to be told. And we're excited to be able to bring that into today's format, where folks can go, on their computer or on their phone and make plans, see what's happening, see what's new, see what things they may have missed. Or if you're traveling to a new state you've never been, some places that are saying, hey, you're welcome to come see us. We got a story, and make that available in real time.
That's a good thing, because especially we're wrapping up Black History Month, but really it should just be an all year thing, where we recognize, acknowledge, and appreciate Black owned businesses, Black, people, achievements of people who are not, their skin tone doesn't look like mine.
Mm-hmm.
But I like that you have that.
Yeah.
Now, I know that Jean's been, asking all the questions, but I just want to, let everybody know, let our listeners know, how do we find you?
Well, you can go to either the KKD KKDTA.com, or you can go to the New Green Book for Travel, and that's FOR, travel, all one word, .com. If you go into that, the New Green Book, there's also a survey you can take, and you'll be eligible to be getting an all expense paid trip to our product launch coming up in the late spring of this year, down in Miami, Florida, through the Miami Convention and Visitors Bureau.
Fabulous. Touching on one thing about the Green Book that people who, don't follow history as close.
Mm-hmm.
As you were saying about places to travel, the leading, or some of the leading politicians for the civil rights movement were obviously LBJ and his wife. Mm-hmm. And had it not been for Zephyr Wright, who was their cook and worked for them for many years, had it not been for the travels that they took with her coming from Texas into Washington and having to figure out, well, where can we stay, because they won't let her stay there. And the fact that businesses would not let the personal assistant to the mm-hmm. President of the United States mm-hmm. stay there is just absolutely amazing. And, that later went on to have him as a, fighter for the civil rights movement. So the Green Book, what a great story, turned into a movie, which was phenomenal. But mm-hmm. what you're doing, to me, deserves the Oscar.
Well, I appreciate it. It's funny you should mention that, because in my mind, I'm thinking, hey, that's a trip someone can plan and travel the same route with the story behind it. How rich would that be?
That would be amazing.
And that's just one of thousands of stories like that, that have such significance, but now they can be put into an app form and you can plot it out yourself.
That's amazing. Thank you so much for joining us and letting us know about all of the things that you've done, in your career, and that you're working with the New Green Book, and that you founded the KKD Tourism and Advisors. Thank you so much for joining us on Food Farms and Chefs.
It's been my honor. Thank you.
Thank you, David.
My pleasure. Have a great day.
You also. At this time, Food Farms and Chefs wants to welcome somebody we affectionately refer to as Uncle Mark, though he's probably young enough to be my son, but Mark Casasanto Jr.
Hello.
Who is a chef and in the event security industry. Welcome, Mark, to Food Farms and Chefs.
Thank you for having me. Very, very grateful to be here. Thank you for having me.
So, Mark, your father was on last year with us talking about event security. He's a prominent senior level manager in event security world. You guys travel a lot. You do a lot for him. You
Yes.
grew up in a very unique situation. You know, you had places like JFK and the stadiums were kind of your playgrounds. That's where you really learned about events, about food, about things like that growing up in South Philadelphia. Tell us a little bit about your early experiences and your early, motivations in the food and event world.
For sure. So yeah, quite literally, I was born and raised in the events and entertainment scene in Philadelphia. My sister, ironically, was born on August 13th, 1996, and that's the day that the Wells Fargo Center, then the Core States, opened up. So while my mom was obviously doing the thing, the pregnancy thing, I was being watched by all my dad's coworkers running around in diapers, the suites and the general admission areas. I'm running around in diapers, and everybody was my babysitter because my dad was obviously running concierge services at the Core States. And yeah, quite literally my playground. I was born and raised pretty much in the Spectrum, the Core States, Veteran Stadium, running around, getting all kinds of trouble because, I was that cute little small kid who couldn't stay out of trouble. But yeah, quite literally grew up in those stadiums, in those arenas. And then, as time shifted and fast forward, I took a liking to it straight out of high school. I thought culinary school was a good move. And, my dad basically gave me the best opportunity I could as almost an internship level. Without it being an internship, I kind of was able to make money and grow and learn at the same time right under my dad in event management, event security, and event planning. Even at the convention center on 12th and Arch. It's where I got a lot of my kicks growing up. So yeah, quite literally, I got raised in that industry in Philadelphia.
Well, you have a real wonderful approach to food. You are very Italian in your style, but you're also very comfort food oriented. Tell us a little bit about your, culinary inspirations and what your experiences are there.
For sure. As you know, I'm 100% Italian. Like every full-blooded Italian, we have like 6 names. My full name is Mark Anthony Francis Casasanto, so it's as Italian as it gets. And ever since I got started and really took a liking and a love to food and events and entertainment, I always was shadowing my grandparents in the kitchen. My grandfather was a sous chef for Cruise Italia back in the day, old Italian fisherman. He was also Sal's Crabs on 24th and Jackson when, they migrated to the United States way back when. My grandmother, who always was in the kitchen, slaving in the kitchen, and just whether it was family, friends, private dinners, catering parties, weddings, you name it, she was always whipping up, classic Italian meals, comfort food always, heavy on the gravy, heavy on the sauce, heavy on the cheese. God forbid, if you said you were full, you really weren't allowed to say that. You were getting another helping, whether you liked it or not. And, I really took a liking to that whole hospitality feel and just being able to provide food for people and just put a smile on their face. So once I really was able to grasp that, I took it and ran with it. Over the pandemic, I got laid off with Imperial Event Security Services over at the convention center, just like half the world did. It's not for any specific reason other than COVID. I used that as a good opportunity to really, get a good opportunity on Uncle Mark's and start that up. And, I felt so comfortable doing that. And I think my life has been, a lot less stressed out and, for the better ever since. So like I said, took that and ran with it really. And, Now I'm just providing Italian sandwiches, influenced by, my Sicilian culture, my Abruzzese culture, because like I said earlier, I'm 100% Italian. We know exactly where we're from. There's no question about it. And, I use each, variety of food, specific to the location in which I'm from in Italy on both sides of the family to really bring something to the table that I think most Philadelphians don't really get to see. I think it's really been going good since we started, and we have a lot planned for the immediate future as well.
Well, I know one of the highlights of COVID, if there is such a thing as highlights of COVID, we were
Of
working
course.
together. We were working together at the drive-in concert series in
That's right.
Bank Park.
That's right.
And I was bringing in stuffed peppers, and your dad was bringing in stuff, and you were bringing stuff in, and
Yep.
I was living like a full-blooded Italian as
You
opposed
got
to
a full
full-blooded,
understanding.
Polish and Ukrainian that I am.
For
But
sure.
what a wonderful moment having the food, and then having you and your father say, these are really good, was a great moment of pride for me, because I have not an Italian
That's right.
blood cell in me. So
You were an inductee very quickly.
it's a really wonderful thing. And, today, wherever I go in the city, whether it be the flower show or,
Yeah.
South Philadelphia, or an event at the convention center or a concert, I'm pretty assured that I'm going to be seeing you there. I just don't know what side of the aisle you're going to be on, whether it's going to be, making dinners and making food for people, or at the
Yeah.
gate taking the people. So,
You're right.
it's wonderful to have that.
Thank
You
you.
recently came back from the Super Bowl. Did you
Yes.
have an opportunity to, show the people in LA a little bit about that food?
Oh yeah, I was very grateful for the opportunity that Rocco Galelli and the team at Innovative Catering Concepts provided me. This year was quite different than years past. We had a lot of moving parts. As you know, there are already a plethora of moving parts at the Super Bowl. I mean, it's the event of all events, really. This year we had a lot of VIP, CBS Sports, ESPN, NBC, a lot of private individual box lunches and sandwiches and grab and go items that were a little different from the usual routine at the Super Bowl. So Rocco and Don Cola came to me and said, Don Cola, who's the GM for Rocco, said that, hey, we would like you to provide some Uncle Mark sandwiches if you would, help us out. We're trying to, impress some people. So if you will, can you whip up some Uncle Mark sandwiches? And of course, I was grateful for the opportunity. And I got to show some LA peeps what and how we do it in Philly with the Italian influence to it. And to say the least, they were very, very impressed. We provided a ton of chicken Parmesan sandwiches, your classic Philly steaks. And, I'm bringing some of my Uncle Mark twist to it with my own signature sandwiches. And they got spoiled, to say the least. I don't really think they're used to all that food, especially on a sub or a hoagie or some kind of hot sandwich. Those guys out there out west, they're not really privy to how we do it in South Philly or the East Coast for that matter. So it was really cool to see all their reactions and how much they really, liked what I was providing them. And, just for Rocco and Don to see how much, they can lean on someone like me who's just getting started was, chock full of experience and exposure and all of those things. And again, I'm really grateful to have that opportunity and to talk about it now as well. As it's great. So went over really well. Thank you for asking.
Well, for our listeners who are interested into a little bit more of what we're talking about, if you go to the Food Farms and Chefs Facebook site or the Instagram site, you can see some pictures of Mark or Uncle Mark's food. I tell you that you will be online ordering it as soon as possible, because I saw them today and I was like, how do I get this now? Like, I want this now.
Thank you, Gene. Appreciate that.
Really great, just, comfort food with great flavor and great twists.
Yes.
So what's the future bring?
The future is wide open, man. The sandwiches, again, I appreciate what you said on that, but the sandwiches, they won't be forever. I'm going to be breaking out of some sandwiches as well as keeping some around. We have some crowd favorites, but I do want to tap in a little bit more to, a deeper, upgraded style of my heritage and more plated meals, more, bringing what I'm able to provide to your family at your home, whether it's a backyard tailgate, a bar bat mitzvah, some kind of family party. I want to, dip into that a little bit more. I'm going to be at some tailgates. The Sixers are more than likely going to be in the playoffs. So the Phillies are starting up as well. You definitely will see me down there in a parking lot somewhere, whipping up some sandwiches or some pasta meals, something like that. But much of the same in the future, but definitely a little bit more. So we want to definitely hit my true Italian side a little bit more and give you some plated meals and stuff that you wouldn't really see unless you're in Italy. So I can pull those things off, and we plan on doing those things very, very soon. So a lot to come. You could definitely follow us on Instagram at Uncle Mark Philly. I'm always posting content on Instagram, and always posting live updates as well on where we're going to be and when we're going to be there. So a lot to come in the future.
Wonderful. Wonderful to hear that. Hopefully
Yes,
you'll
sir.
get an opportunity to get down, into Chester and combine two of your great loves in food and soccer and do some things down there as well.
Most certainly on the horizon. We had plans to get down there, for the home opener this weekend, but, like you said earlier in the phone call, if you're at an event in the mid-Atlantic area, you might not know what side of the ball I'm going to be on. We were just down in Baltimore doing the CIAA HBCU Fan Fest and basketball tournament. So we had to shift some things a little bit, but it will definitely be happening in the future. And you will see me down there at Union Stadium, PPL Park for sure, or Talent Energy Stadium, I think it is now. So, or Subaru Park. I'll get it right on the third try.
Are you going to be are you going to be around the Sons of Sam, or are you in the stadium?
Sons of Ben for sure.
Oh,
Yeah,
Sons of
I'm
Ben,
actually
yeah.
I'm a founding member of Sons of Ben. I've had season tickets for as long as I could remember, and I plan on feeding those wild animals called the Sons of Ben as well. So yeah, we're definitely going to be down there for sure.
You'll see me on the field taking photos.
Awesome. I'll make sure I come find you. I'll have a sub in my hand or a hoagie in my hand for you, and you can kill two birds with one stone.
There you go.
Nice.
Now I'm jealous.
We'll bring you too, Gene. We're not holding out on you.
There you go. There you
We'll
go.
put you in the press box.
There you go. Now you see you're hooked up already.
There we go. Mark, it is a great pleasure to have you with us. Thank you for taking some time to talk to us a little bit. We look
Absolutely.
forward to having you back to talk about your great success later on in the year and everything
you.
going on. And, please keep us updated. Is there an email or a website that people can reach you at?
Yes, we just started a website. It's also unclemarkphilly.com. Instagram is probably the best way to reach me. I'm very much doing my own promotion, marketing, and all the direct messaging and sales and all that. So it is all me right now. So it's very easy to reach me. Just find me on Instagram at Uncle Mark Philly, shoot me a direct message, and let's start the process. Absolutely. And thank you both for having me today. Very grateful for the opportunity.
Great to have you.
Thank you so much. I'll be back very soon.
Talk to you.
All right. Have a good night.
You too.
Bye-bye now.
Bye.